I want to speak to you about a massive business loan from Kalamata Capital. Maximum loan amount $750,000. Funding in 3 hours. You heard it right. 3 hours. No credit check. I want you to stick around till the end of today's conversation because you're going to love the kind of info I'm going to share with you. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to share with you a humongous business loan from Kalamata Capital. $750,000, that's the maximum loan amount. Before I get into the actual description of the loan and everything else you need to do to qualify for it, let me quickly say that this video is only instructional and informative. We have no association. We have no relationship with Kalamata Capital. They're not paying us to do this video. For us, it's just fantastic information we want to share with business owners and entrepreneurs out there. So having said that, let me just get into the actual nitty-gritty here. So the loan facts. So the loan here is a merchant cash advance. This is what you call a business payday loan. So the 750 is the maximum amount you can qualify for, and the APR. So when we speak about MCA, merchant cash advance, we don't speak about APR, annual percentage rate. We speak about factor rate. So the factor rate between that factor rate will range from 1.15 to 1.42, and there are no fees. The term 3 to 18 months, and the time to funding 3 hours to 3 days. And there are no extra conditions. We have actually covered the topic of a merchant cash advance on another show. So if you're interested in the topic, just check out the show in our catalog of videos so you can have a better understanding. One thing I want to say is that Kalamata has, they have some pros and cons here. The pros, they have low credit score requirements. As a matter of fact, when we speak about merchant cash advance, a credit score is not really an important criterion. And so there is no hard credit pull. They have lower rates compared to other MCA lenders, and they have prepayment discount. So this is pretty cool. If you prepay, you can get a discount from Kalamata. In terms of the cons, they have a $325 application fee. They do have a high revenue requirements. I'll go in details later on. And there is no reporting of loan payments to personal or business credit bureaus, so you can't really build credit. However, if you need cash ASAP, listen, who cares about business credit reporting? If you need cash ASAP and they can provide the cash within 24 hours or even within 3 hours, you better take that cash now and get whatever and do whatever you need to do, and worry about business credit later on, because guess what? If you file for bankruptcy, if there's no credit, if there's no business in the future, you wouldn't care about business credit. You got to have a business in the first place to care about business credit. Okay, so this is the kind of analytical journey I want you to take right now. One thing you have to understand is that one thing we didn't like also with Kalamata is that they have a lack of transparency. So there is no relevant information on their websites. Having said that, the lack of info on a lender website is not a bad thing per se, because they could be hiding the terms for competitive intelligence purposes. In other words, they want to hide their data from their rivals, right? And they may also want to talk to you directly if you have interest, if you have expressed an interest in their loan products. Now, let me speak to you about Kalamata. So I've spoken to you about the loan. The loan is merchant cash advance. Again, folks, when we speak about Kalamata, in today's conversation, I'm talking to you about a massive business loan from Kalamata Capital. Maximum loan amount $750,000. Okay, and this comes from a company called Kalamata Capital. And after evaluating this lender on tens of criteria, including the loan variety, the loan amount, generosity, the cost, the factor rates, that is, the reputation and the customer service of this lender, we scored them 8.5 over 10. And they do have an A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau, the Triple B, the platform. They do have a few complaints though, but each of the complaints that we have seen on that platform has been addressed by the company. So it's not really a biggie here. And one thing I also want to say here is that you have to understand that the loan that we are speaking about specifically from Kalamata is just one part of their product offerings. They will work with you. What I'm trying to say is once you get to know that, once you provide all the info they need, they will work with you. Here is a lender that has been known to work with, to have a high repeat rate in terms of borrowing. In other words, their borrowers are so satisfied with the loan, they're satisfied with the process, with the lending process, with the repayments. They're satisfied with the competitiveness of the offer in terms of cost, that they are coming back to borrow more and more and more. So here again, when we talk about a merchant cash advance, just kind of oversimplify a very complex situation. What it is that you gotta make, as a company, you have to make credit card sales and debit card sales. You gotta have card sales. And then what you do is that the lender, in this case Kalamata, will advance to you, aka the name, hence the name merchant cash advance. So they'll give you probably 80 to 90% of the cash before you get your revenue back. All right, so they advance the money to you, so you can use the money for other stuff. You can prepay some orders from suppliers. You can buy inventory. You can hire staff before the money comes in. And this is because there is a gap between when you send the inventory, the goods to your customers, and when you receive payments. Sometimes if your customers are net 30 or net 45 customers, you have to wait 30 days or 45 days to get your cash back. And this is where lenders such as Kalamata, they step in to fill that chasm, to fill that liquidity chasm, the liquidity gap. Let me talk to you now about the eligibility criteria. Folks, in this show, I'm talking to you about a large business loan from Kalamata Group. $750,000, that's the maximum amount. And this business loan is a merchant cash advance. And so the loan amount oscillates from $5,000 to $750,000. The loan terms from 4 to 12 months. I've said this before, the factor rate 1.25 to 1.43. Now, what about the eligibility criteria? They want you to have annual revenue of $250,000. This is what I was saying earlier in terms of it's a little high because some business, if you have a micro business, for example, it's kind of hard to pull in 20 grand every month, right? Because $250,000, that means that you must be pulling at least $20,000 a month, because 20 times 12, that's 240. So somewhere, 20,000 and change. So if you qualify for that, then you're fine. And their minimum credit score is 500. So as you can see, it's not really a problem. If you have bad personal credit, they're fine with that. Because again, an MCA, a merchant cash advance, whether it is from Kalamata or another lender, is a collateralized loan. It's an asset-based loan. And the asset in this case is the accounts receivable, your sales, okay? And they want you to have 1 year minimum in business. So operational history of at least 1 year. And other eligibility criteria include the fact that they have been known to work with companies in the following industries. So they have retail, wholesale, e-commerce, medical, dental, and pharmaceutical, trucking, construction, and logistics, restaurant, hotel, and franchises. One thing I want to say here is that if you're not in any of those industries, give them a call. You want to contact them because they are very flexible. We've reached out to them and they said they will look at every company's application as long as everything is clear for them. You have to understand that overall, eligibility requirements will vary based on the term, size, and type of financing that you're looking for. So in general, the larger the loan size and the longer the term, the more strict the requirements are, right? That makes sense. Okay, it really makes sense. So let's say if you're applying, for example, for funding of over $300,000, you'll also need to have used accounting software for at least 1 year. Now, let me talk to you about the use of loan proceeds. Okay, folks, in this show, just kind of remind those people who just joined us right now, I'm speaking to you about a large business loan from Kalamata Group. The business loan in this case is a merchant cash advance with a maximum loan amount of $750,000. This is impressive, but this is the kind of cash you can have to accelerate your expansion, your growth, your the hiring a lot of people, anything that your mind fancies at the business level. So you can use a Kalamata business merchant cash advance for a constellation of purposes. And here we have actually we're showing you on the screen seven that have been known, seven items that have been known to get approval at Kalamata. For example, working capital. Inventory. You can use the cash, the extra cash you get from Kalamata. You can use that cash to buy inventory, maybe inventory at better terms. If you are in an industry that's seasonal, you might want to take advantage of maybe large discounts from your suppliers and buy in bulk and just store in the warehouse. You can use part of the cash to hire. Let's say you are in an industry that's very competitive, and the last thing you want is just not having the right staff, the right kind of talent on staff. So this will be very helpful. You can use the money for tech upgrades, for example, right? Let's say you want to buy hardware, you want to move from a server that's a little slow or a little outdated, and you want to actually move up. Also, you can use the money for software purchases. You can use the money also for equipment financing, right? And you can use the money also for marketing in general. One thing I want to say here is that even though Kalamata does not offer equipment financing deals per se, you can use the money that you get from a merchant cash advance to buy equipment. All right. So in this case, the money, the equipment rather, is not the collateral for the loan. Your sales, your accounts receivable are the collateral for the loan. Okay, just want to clarify that part because a lot of people get it twisted at that level. But yeah, so you can use the money for a constellation of purposes at the business level. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still talking to you today about a humongous business loan from Kalamata Capital Group. Maximum loan amount $750,000. All kinds of credit profiles are welcome. Low credit, no credit, bad credit, good credit, fair credit, because everything happens at the business level. So your personal credit doesn't matter that much. Let me talk to you now about the evidence needed. If you want to qualify for, if you want to get the loan, Kalamata wants you to have a specific set of documents. Okay, so they want you to show 12 months of business bank statements, 2 years of business tax returns. So you need to show 2 years of your 1065 if you are LLC or LP, and you got to show or either 1065 or 1120S or 1120C. Okay, so that's for the business tax returns. They want to have copies of the most recent profit and loss statements. This is also called the statement of income or income statements. This is the statement where you show your profit and losses, right? They want to have copies of your most recent balance sheets, at least for the last 3 months, so they can actually analyze progress in your assets and liabilities, right? They would just want to verify that you don't have a lethargic balance sheet, a stagnant balance sheet. They want to have a certificate of good standing, if applicable. They want to have voided business checks from you. Yeah, they're still using checks nowadays. I mean, people think that everything is done electronically nowadays. No. People are still using, lenders are still using checks. And so this is important. They want to have copies of the driver's license for all the owners. And they want to have credit card processing statements. This is quintessential. This last part, the credit card processing statements, are quintessential because the foundational idea of a merchant cash advance arrangement is the credit card processing statement. This is why I was telling you earlier, you got to make sales through credit cards and debit cards. This is the only way that Kalamata Group or other MCA lenders can evaluate the volume of your transactional volume. They will have an idea of how much volume you are actually processing every month, and they can base their analysis. They can base the loan amount. They can base their underwriting decision on that amount. Okay, Very important. Now, let me talk to you about how to apply. So, to apply for, again, folks, I'm speaking to you about a massive loan, massive business loan, a massive merchant cash advance of up to $750,000 from Kalamata Capital Group. You can email them you can email the application, you can fax it, you can apply on the website, you can call a representative from Kalamata to talk to him or her. You can visit a branch if you're in the area and if they allow you, or you can mail in your application package. It depends on the kind of industry you're in. They will accommodate whatever works for you. Okay. Now you have to understand that when it comes to the application, the Kalamata Capital website is largely unnecessary. They have done a poor job at that. In other words, you have no information on the website. They want you to contact them. They want to start a conversation with you. So once you call them up, you will answer basic questions about you and your business. I mean, I'm speaking about your business's address, the amount of financing you need. You will also need to provide supporting documents, and you can email those to them or you can send them in hard copy. And so once they receive a complete underwriting package from you, they'll review your bank statements, they'll review your financial statements, they'll review your credit card processing statements, right? Remember that those three things must match. So your bank statements, your credit card, the processing statements, and your financial statements must match, because they're going to reconcile that anyway. They're going to reconcile those three statements anyway. So please be forthcoming. No need to sort of like hide the truth here. No, because you want to establish a good relationship with your lender from the get-go. And the one thing that Kalamata also does very well is that they want to look at alternative data. So they will verify your business's listings on online directories and social media. For them, it's very important. I mean, social media nowadays has become an important criterion when evaluating a borrower's application. They want to have, because they're worried about reputational risk. They're worried about financial risk. They're worried about default risk. Okay, so if you pass muster, if you pass all the eligibility requirements, Kalamata will make you an offer, and they usually do this within a few hours of receiving your underwriting package. So this is things can go really fast. And if you accept the offer, it takes about 45 to 90 minutes to receive a contract. And once you get a contract, just read it, sign it, and voila. You should actually see the funds in your bank account within 1 to 3 days, 3 business days. Okay. One thing I want to say here is, let me give you a few pro tips, folks. If you do not qualify for a merchant cash advance with Kalamata, don't worry, because you can reapply. We can reapply. As I said before, they do not necessarily base their application on your personal credit history, but on the business performance. All right. There are other ways, and if you reapply and you still don't get it, don't worry, because there are other business lenders out there. We have covered gazillions of them, literally, from Fundbox to Loan Me to Street Shares to many others. So this shouldn't be a problem for you. All right. And what you want to do is you want to go back and try to strengthen your business financials. First of all, you want to have an idea of why you were denied. Okay. And this is where you want to speak to a representative, because this is important. And one thing I also need to say, and I didn't say it at the beginning, they do charge an origination fee, and that fee is made up of 2 amounts. So they have a flat application fee, and then they have another amount that is 2% of the amount borrowed. All right. So the flat fee is $325, and then plus 2% of the application fee. So the reason why I'm saying that is that if they don't approve you, it's not the end of the world. You can find another cheaper lender out there, another business lender with cheaper terms out there. And what you want to do is you want to go back and strengthen your business application, your loan application. So you want to pay attention to things like your business plan. Very important. Okay, you want to make sure that you can exhibit sufficient cash flows. So there is an important statement called statement of cash flows. So you want to pay attention to your cash flow from operating activities, cash flow from investing activities, and cash flows from financing activities. Those are the three categories in the statement of cash flows. And if you do a good job there, you will showing the lender, whether it is Kalamata Group or another lender, that your business is financially healthy, that your business is not lethargic. Okay, and you also want to pay attention to other important documents. For example, your contracts. Okay, the trade lines that you maintain with vendors. How many vendors you have on a net 30 basis or net 45 basis? Who are your business references? Those elements taken together can make they can make an impact. They can actually affect the decision making process when it comes to lending. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I was speaking to you about a massive business loan from Kalamata Group. As a matter of fact, we have a merchant cash advance of up to $750,000 from Kalamata Group. And so I spoke to you, I gave you some facts about the loan itself. I gave you some facts about the lender, the eligibility criteria, the use of loan proceeds, evidence that is needed, how to apply for this merchant cash advance, and some pro tips at the end of the day. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I'll see you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.